Our texting capabilities have proven to be some of the most successful tools that we've built in the software thus far, helping companies improve their upselling capabilities, get more upsells, and just flat out communicate better with their customers to ensure that they know about services coming up, to ensure that they're paying invoices on time, to ensuring that new leads see, receive, and approve new estimates being sent to them versus them getting lost in their email inbox. And that's ultimately where the success of our texting capabilities really come into play. It's simply just coming down to comparing texting versus emailing and phone calling, which are the traditional communication methods most businesses use these days. Texting has a 98% open rate. In the data that we've collected, that stands still very true. In many of the companies that we use that use the product, we are still seeing a 98% open rate and delivery rate as well. Versus you compare email that has a 20% open rate, and phone calls, if they don't recognize the number, is even lower. So when you look at, sending estimates to people, following up with leads, ensuring that people pay invoices on time, making sure that, in your post-service automations, people leave you reviews, emails just prove to fall short oftentimes because these emails get lost in their inbox. People, very rarely check their inbox, so things sit there for hours at a time until somebody finally checks it. Where you compare it to texting, and as soon, think about how we usually act throughout the day. When we get a text, when we hear that ding, when we hear that vibration, oftentimes a lot of us are trained now to immediately pick up the phone and look at it. So this is incredibly valuable when we start talking about marketing, when we start talking about sales. Your ability to communicate with that lead, your ability to communicate to that person who is interested in buying from you is so valuable, because chances are they're not just looking at you, they're probably looking at several of your competitors as well. And the longer your follow-up, the longer your estimate sits in their inbox, unopened, unread, then no decision has been made, you open up the door to all of these different companies, all of these different competitors coming into their inbox as well, and now you have to compete for their attention versus just simply addressing some of the concerns and some questions in their mind and closing the sale. Things get complicated because now they're comparing you apples to apples with some other companies. And that's what we want to avoid. That's why speed in sales is so valuable. It's probably one of the most important pieces, other than simply following up with people. It's to be fast in the sales process, in the follow-up, in the response after somebody initiates that conversation, to ensure that you don't let all of these other competitors get into their inbox. So here's how EveryChat helps out with that. A lot of it starts with our ability to integrate with most CRMs. So companies like Service Autopilot, Jobber, Copilot, Made Central, Sweep and Go these days. There's so many other products. We can oftentimes integrate into their automation sequence, their listen for events in their system and send out automated texts, to build out a follow-up flow to trigger automated text to ensure that your team doesn't have to constantly, or doesn't have to remember to follow up with them or to remember to send a text. The system can do it for you. So automations is a big part of that in our ability to integrate with all of these different products. But oftentimes what companies often look for coming into EveryChat is the ability to use their existing phone number, so that you're not spinning up this new phone number that customers don't recognize. In many cases, because we also integrate with a ton of different phone systems, you can bring your existing phone number into the product here, integrate it into EveryChat, and then that's going to be the phone number that you use to send your text marketing, to send follow-ups, to follow up on estimates, past due invoices, to send review invitations. It's all coming from that number that people already recognize. So you're not starting from scratch. So if we kind of map out what's capable here in the system, as we talked about, you have integrations and you can kind of include automations in that too. Listening for events inside of your CRM, in firing off automated texts, whether that's a follow-up, whether that's sending out an estimate, whether that's sending out a review invitation when a job is completed. You have the integration and automation phase, or a stage of EveryChat. You have that aspect. You also then have the features within the product to qualify leads. So this is going to be a really powerful tool for not only bringing people in, So you using texting on your door hangers, on company vehicles, on Facebook ads. So kind of like this, on using texting on a door hanger, using texting on the side of your trucks, using texting as a QR code on the back of your trucks. These are examples of how you can use texting to increase the number of leads that you're getting on notoriously difficult channels to bring leads in, because there's a lot of friction when they see a door hanger, when they see a company vehicle. When maybe even when they see a Facebook ad, that's very applicable in this situation as well. They're not always going to have time to pick up the phone and call you. So what they're going to do is they're going to put it on a to-do list. They'll say, I'll get back to this later. And they never get back around to doing it because they have their kids, they have work, they have friends and family to go hang out with. They have all of these other things that they would much rather do rather than talk to a business on the phone. So your item, that item of getting back to you never ends up happening. And then they might start a conversation with another company who made it easier for them to reach out. There's just so many factors. And that's why using texting on door hangers to bring people in, which is, I think we've seen as much as a 26% increase on in leads using texting on physical marketing, and then also in your digital marketing, like adding the web chat feature to your website where people can text you from your website or interact with the chat bot on your website. You can customize this and build it out however you want, but there's so many different avenues to bring leads in with texting, and that is how we've increased leads by a significant percentage. But where I was going with this was, when you start using texting with EveryChat on your marketing, that also opens up the door to building out autoresponders to qualify these leads as they enter the door. So for example, I might create an autoresponder, one of our conversational autoresponders, that's like free quote request. And on my marketing, on my door hanger, I might want to say text free quote to our phone number. So I'll create the keyword text free quote, and then that will give me the option to where whenever somebody texts that keyword to our phone number, I can build out the system to ask them questions to understand who they are, why they're reaching out, what's their biggest pain point, what are they hoping to solve, just information that I need to collect to help me understand who they are and how do I close this sale. You can build out as many of these conversational autoresponders as you'd like and integrate them throughout your sales funnel so that the system's doing most of kind of the questioning, the qualification stage, whereas your team is doing the closing. Okay, using this data that the autoresponder is collected to use that in the sales process to follow up with them more effectively, to talk with them more effectively on the phone, to close the deal by addressing their pain points, their concerns. Why are they reaching out to you in the first place? The system can collect this information for you. And then, as I mentioned, you can plug this into different aspects of your funnel. So whenever somebody texts you from web chat, this can kick off an autoresponder to collect some more details about them, because what the system's going to do is it's going to get their name, phone number, and message by default. But then the autoresponder can then say, hey, could we get your property address? Hey, what's the reason you're reaching out to us today for? Or like things like that. That's what the autoresponder is designed for. You can also then implement it into the phone system integrations that we have, which are like we can integrate with RingCentral, Dialpad, Lawn Phone, and a few other systems for listening when missed calls happen on your phone system. We can then send them a text. Maybe it's something simple like, hey, sorry you missed your call. Or you can take it and use our autoresponders feature to say, hey, sorry you missed your call. Could I get your name? And then could you also please tell us the reason for your calling, or the reason why you're calling? That will help our team get back to you and more effectively help you. Something along those lines. You can design the autoresponder however you want. But you can build out these processes to qualify leads, to interact with customers, to just collect information that you need from people who are reaching out to you. So all of this information, as your autoresponder is working with them, as you're collecting leads off of marketing, as customers are texting you from your website asking questions, or maybe they have you saved in their phone, all of that stuff is going to come into EveryChat's all-in-one inbox. So the phone numbers that we've integrated into EveryChat, the phone numbers that you might have purchased for marketing purposes, whatever it is, any of these phone numbers that are receiving incoming texts, they're all going to come into this inbox where you and your team can collaborate and manage the inbox together. And then in addition to that, the last thing I'll talk about here is our text marketing tools. So if you've watched any other videos on the website, you will know that we can import all of your customer and lead data into the system and then build out custom audiences. So if you want to send upsells to customers, you can build out that campaign using your existing customer data and build out these audiences so you can target people specifically and get better results versus, say, sending out a text to all of your customers and hoping they like your generic offer. We've seen much better results when you build out these very narrow lists and you send an upsell that directly relates to that person that you're communicating with. So you can use our text campaigns feature for upselling, as I mentioned. Companies have seen incredible results that with that feature, where some of them have generated as much as $15,000 in a week just in additional revenue from upsells. You can send review collection campaigns. Some companies have generated as much as 30 reviews in a week with this feature. And then you can use it for also just communicating with customers, next day service reminders, or even communicating with your team as well. So the team out in the field, all of them are probably going to have a texting app on their phone. So you can just send a bulk text out to your team saying, hey, we got weather coming through. You just keep in mind that we might have to kind of wrap it up wrap it up today early. Whatever those, reminders are, notifications are that you need to get out to the team. You can use the text campaign feature for that and build out a list of all of your employees in the system and then target those in the audience. It's super easy to do so. Building out a campaign just takes a few minutes. So you have the campaigns feature, you have the autoresponders feature, you have the inbox, of course, you have our phone system integrations, you have the CRM integrations for automating many texts. You have all of this stuff all working together to help you communicate better with customers, but also to give you these tools to implement texting in your marketing and your sales to get better results, to bring people into the funnel and to close these sales better because you're sending estimates by text versus email where they might get lost. You are following up with leads by text so that you ensure that your texts are actually being seen, your follow-ups are actually being seen. All of this stuff helps you get better results in customer service, reviews, and in marketing and sales. And that's what EveryChat's texting features are all about. So if you want to dig into this further, please schedule a demo with me. I can show you more about the system. I can answer any of your questions. And that is the best next step forward if you're interested in EveryChat and want to take this further and see exactly how it can work in your business.